Hi. So I've always wanted to film this, but I always come up with excuses not to because schedule, schedule, busy, life. You get it. I'm being redundant. So I'm just going out of my way and filming, even if I'm still in my pajamas. And yeah, it's a lovely Saturday here in Paris. And I just want to, well, talk about or share my journey as an international student. Also, how I got here and how you can as well. I want to outline this video into three parts. First is the planning, second is the execution, and third is the actual thing. When you actually get here, when you're actually feeling everything and getting your new life started. Alrighty, let's go. Okay. So, the planning portion. To me, I think the planning portion is the hardest. Actually, all the steps are hard. But if you really want it, then you just go for it. Well, at least that's what happened to me. In terms of planning, what I mean to say is that in the planning portion, there is the well, you have to identify the goal, your goal, why, your reason why. Why are you studying abroad? Why are you going all the way to another country or all the way across an ocean to study to get a degree? And then there's your budgeting and oh, I'm a little bit of a germaphobe, and this is my favorite product. One of my favorite products here. Anyway, okay. Sorry about that. I'm rambling. Yeah. So your why, and then your budgeting, and then the choosing of the school per se. So in terms of the why, you have to understand your reason for going abroad. Is it because you want to find a job after your degree? Is it because your family is here and you want to stay with your family here? Or is it because you just want an experience abroad? Because your goal will affect the way that your budget has to be. And in my case, I am here in France because I want to get my MBA degree. I want to integrate, and hopefully, I get a job after. So that really affected how I designed the budgeting of my study abroad program and my lifestyle here. Because if, for example, I only went here because I just want to have an experience abroad, and then I'm gonna go home after and find a job back in my country. Then my life would be a little bit different, and the budgeting and the school that I would have chosen and the timeline would have also affected all of that. Okay, well, that's just in my point of view. So yeah, keep that in mind. Why are you going abroad? And then the next important part is of the planning section is the budgeting. So as I've said, from your why, you'll have an idea of your budget. So it's totally possible to go abroad, go study abroad, even if you don't have a huge budget, but you have to work harder. You have to look out for scholarships or grants. And there are a lot of things out there. For example, in France, at least the scholarships that I know, the FL scholarship. Some schools, some universities also offer their own scholarships, and the PhilDOST scholarship as well. which you can all check out in the Campus France website. And I'm hoping that I remember to link it down below in the description box so you guys can check it out. And yeah, if you have a bigger budget, then good for you. what I suggest, what I suggest is you outline the expenses that you think you will have, and of course you will have to research about the budgeting of the country where you're going as well, and also your budget decides, well, for me, I chose the country first and then I decided my budget, but it can totally be the other way around as well. So what will help you forecast your budget is research, which is the third part of the planning. So once you've decided where at least the country where you want to do your program, then you research the student lifestyle in that country. That's my number one tip. What I did, for example, in my case, because I knew that I wanted to go to France, I narrowed down the regions where I wanted to go, and that was Paris, Bordeaux, and Toulouse. Those were my top 3 regions in France where I wanted to go to. And then I compared the student budget lifestyle thing that I found online, which city was the cheapest, which was the most expensive one, and surprise, surprise, Paris was the most expensive one. Bordeaux and Toulouse, they were almost in the same range, and that's how I formed the monthly forecasted budget that I think I would have to spend per month to not just live, but also have a little fun on the side here in France. Yeah, so really researching everything aside from the program and the school is key, to not go to that place and then be surprised and derail your program, whatever your plan is. I had my budget and then I narrowed down the choices that I narrowed down the universities, the programs that I can afford, and then I applied. So in terms of application, which is still a part of the planning and the organization before the actual thing, you have to take notes. You have to take note of deadlines. So different schools have different deadlines. Well, at least in my experience, I applied to the universities directly instead of going through Campus France. I heard from some of my friends that they actually used the Campus France platform, wherein they selected the schools, they uploaded the documents, and then the platform in Campus France actually sends out the applications for them. That's not the case for me. That's not the case for the Philippines, I think. Because we're not part of some agreement, blah, 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 etc. And so I had to send out my applications to the different universities. And usually they ask you for your motivation letter, which is super important, which I suggest that you curate based on the school and the program that you're applying to, and not just send a general motivation or cover letter. Second is your CV or your resume. Third, an ID photo, a passport, and then a copy of your previous diploma. Yes. So those are the simple general requirements that a lot of the universities that I applied to are asking for. Some of them wanted 1 or 2 recommendation letters from previous professors or a previous manager or a previous colleague, which well, of course, that is why you have to plan ahead when you apply to these universities, because for recommendation letters, you want to at least give a 2 weeks notice to the person that you're gonna ask for your recommendation letters, because that is just good practice. So yay, congratulations, you've been accepted to your dream university here abroad. What's the next step? So the next step is to read through that acceptance letter thoroughly. I know in my case what I did first when I got accepted to a few schools is that I called my best friend and I told her all about it. But yeah, it's also a very nice reminder to read through the acceptance letter to know the next steps that the university wants you to do. So we can now go to the actual, to the execution part of, to the execution portion of my tips. Okay, so first thing is to do your visa application. So obviously it is different from where you're going. In my case, because I chose to go to France, I had to have a Campus France interview, which you have to schedule before your actual visa appointment with VFS Global in Makati City. So what happened was that I first went to the French Interior Ministry website that I will link down below. I filled out all the things. I filled out the details in the platform, and it told me the general requirements that I had to submit for my visa application. So the good thing about it is that in the platform you can actually upload already the documents that you have, and then you can come back to it and then upload again the other documents which are missing from your dossier or your file. The Campus France interview is very important, and you have to schedule that at least 2 to 3 weeks before your, before your visa application, because if you go to VFS Global, if you schedule an appointment with VFS Global without your Campus France interview, then they will just reschedule you again. And I'm not sure if that's another kind of payment, but an appointment with VFS is around 2,700, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe their prices have updated, and that is separate from what you have to pay for the actual visa processing, which is I think around 5,000. The Campus France interview, if I remember it right, has no payment whatsoever. They just have to give you a certificate that you have been interviewed by Campus France. I think they just want to know where you're going, how you're going there, and then what will you do after. Just a really informal interview with the Campus France officer. And yeah, the Campus France office is actually near VFS Global, so it's quite easy to find as well. So once you have all of the documents ready, you have to now go to your visa appointment. And the visa appointment, at least to me, it took me around an hour or two. It was very easy. And then the processing time was around 2 weeks. And then I got my visa. Third step, which is setting up your new life as an international student abroad. First thing is to breathe, especially just when just when you arrive in the airport and everything is actually happening and a lot of things are happening all at the same time. Just breathe. It's gonna be okay. You're going to be fine. You're going to find your way. So breathe. And then after breathing, panic. And I'm just kidding. Yeah, so after breathing, you just have to live through it. Um, because you've already made the research, you've set yourself up for success, you have your solid foundation as to, I mean, you've already prepared yourself as much as you can for whatever's coming, and so you just have to live through it and appreciate all the experiences, not just the joys, but also the impending sorrows and struggles that is to come, because mind you, they do come. Immerse yourself in the culture and in the language. Talk to locals, especially if you're in a country where the native language is different from yours. It'll just make you appreciate so much of where you are and where you came from, and take adventures, not just with other people but also with yourself. Go out on self dates, and when it gets lonely, when it becomes hard, go back to the things you love. Go back to the thing that you love doing even before you got here. And for me, that's reading a book, which is exactly what I'm going to do in the next few minutes after this, while drinking my rosé, and eating some mangoes, which I do love. And yeah, take adventures, because this experience isn't going to last for a very long time. I mean, even if your goal is to stay in that country for a long time, that phase in your life where you're a student again in an international environment, it's just a phase of life. And yeah, it goes both ways. When you're struggling, you just have to remember that this is a temporary experience. So yeah, I hope those tips help to anyone out there who is an average student such as myself, and also an introvert and an overthinker. I hope that helps. There is a huge bee here. Okay, just flew by. And yeah, so I'll see you guys around. Maybe in France. À bientôt.